One swing from Marwin Gonzalez turned a funeral at Dodger Stadium into the wildest night in Astros history, at least until Game 5. This is Astros 70, Game 2 of the 2017 World Series. Houston's 3 outs from going home, down 2-0, and Kenley Jansen is on the mound. The man leading off the ninth isn't Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, or George Springer. It's the man who could play anywhere and disappear into a roster until the exact moment the Astros couldn't survive without him. And the Astros came into Los Angeles as the American League's best team offensively. But Clayton Kershaw made them look ordinary in Game 1. He struck out 11, walked 0, and the Dodgers won 3-1 behind homers from Chris Taylor and Justin Turner. Houston had also been swept in its only previous World Series appearance way back in 2005. And that meant the franchise had entered Game 2 still looking for its first World Series win ever. It's not an elimination game, but going down 2-0 against that Dodgers bullpen would have changed the whole series. Los Angeles won 104 games, and Houston won 101. So here's the question. When two great teams meet, what actually separates them? Is it the superstar, the ace, the manager, or is it one mistake in an 0-2 count to the 7th hitter in the lineup? Justin Verlander became almost automatic since arriving from Detroit. The Dodgers countered with Rich Hill, whose big looping curveball could make an elite lineup look a little bit lost. Game 2 began as a pitching fight, but by the end, it barely resembled normal baseball. Marwin Javier Gonzalez was born March 14, 1989, in Puerto Ordaz, Venezuela. The Cubs signed him as a 16-year-old international free agent in November 2005, and he spent 6 seasons climbing through their system, mostly as a middle infielder, without ever becoming the kind of prospect that a franchise would build billboards around. But then came one of those transactions that barely registered when it happened. Boston took him from the Cubs in the 2007 Rule 5 draft. The Red Sox immediately traded him to Houston for right-handed pitcher Marco Duarte and cash. Because the Rule 5 restrictions followed him, the Astros had to keep him on the Major League roster throughout 2012 or risk losing him. He made the club. More than that, he started at shortstop on opening day. That first Houston team lost 107 games. Next year, they lost 111. Gonzalez learned in the middle of a teardown while the organization was built back up around him. He was also part of baseball history in a way that had nothing to do with the World Series. On April 2nd, 2013, Yu Darvish retired the first 26 Astros he faced. With 2 outs in the ninth, Gonzalez shot a clean single right through the middle and ruined the perfect game. That's Marwin's career in miniature. He's rarely the name printed largest on the ticket. He's the guy who showed up at the edge of somebody else's masterpiece and changed the ending. Marwin's flexibility became his identity. He played shortstop, second base, and third base. Then he added first base and left field. He switch hit. He could move during a game without forcing manager A.J. Hinch to burn the bench. But 2017 was more than versatility. Gonzalez hit .303 with a .377 OBP, a .530 slugging percentage, 23 jacks, and a team best 90 RBI. He produced a .907 OPS while never appearing in more than 47 games at the same position. MLB's own records credit him as the first player ever to hit 30 doubles and 20 homers while appearing multiple times at left field, right field, and every infield position, except in catcher. He was one of the best players in the AL, hidden behind the label utility man. Now, to you, how valuable is that type of player? Would you rather have one star locked into one position or one very good player who allows the manager to rebuild the lineup every night? And now for something completely different. On June 8, 1959, United States Post Office and the U.S. Navy tried missile mail, A Regulus 1 cruise missile launched from the submarine USS Barbaro with its warhead compartment replaced by containers holding 3,000 letters. Postmaster General Arthur Summerfield predicted guided missiles might soon carry mail all across the country. Yeah, never happened. Apparently, everybody decided firing the mail out of a submarine, solving a problem that didn't really exist. Anyway, pardon me. Houston struck first in the third inning. Josh Reddick singled, Verlander bunted him over, and Alex Bregman lined a 2-out single into left to make it 1-0 Astros. Hill lasted 4 innings, but he struck out 7. Verlander was even sharper, up until Jock Peterson got him in the 5th. Peterson launched a solo home run that tied the game, and in the 6th, Chris Taylor walked. Corey Seager drove a Verlander fastball into left center. The Dodgers suddenly led 3-1, despite only having 2 hits, but they're both homers. And that lead looked pretty big because the Los Angeles bullpen had gone 28 straight postseason innings without giving up any runs. But Houston finally broke that streak in the 8th. Bregman doubled when Yasiel Puig nearly made a spectacular catch and right. Then Carlos Correa singled him home. Now it's 3-2, but Jansen's already in the game. Jansen finished the 8th, came back out for the 9th. He hadn't allowed a run all postseason. His cutter looked like a pitch designed to break bats and confidence at the same time. Gonzalez led off. First pitch is a strike. Second was fouled back. It's 0-2. Jansen tried to go up and in, but the cutter leaked out over the plate. Gonzalez drove it towards left center. Chris Taylor drifted back. The crowd rose. Then everybody understood all at once. Gone. 3-3. As Gonzalez rounded third, he pointed towards the Houston strong patch on his jersey. That's the symbol the Astros wore after Hurricane Harvey. He crossed home and disappeared into a dugout that just came back to life. For a moment, it felt like Houston already won something bigger than an inning. Of course, the Astros hadn't won the game yet, not even remotely. Here's where it gets crazy. In the 10th, Altuve homered off Josh Fields. Correa followed with another. Back-to-back shots made it 5-3. Houston appeared to have completed the comeback, but the Dodgers answered. Puig homered off Ken Giles. Then Kike Hernandez singled home Logan Forsythe, 5-5. Crazy, right? Now tell me at this point, were you enjoying the game or were you just trying to survive? Because, holy crap, Cameron Maybin opened the 11th with a single. He stole second, and Springer unloaded a Brandon McCarthy slider for a 2-run homer. Houston led 7-5. Still not over. Charlie Culberson homered with 2 outs in the bottom of the inning. Chris Davinsky then went 9 pitches with Puig before finally striking him out to end it. Final score was Astros 7, Dodgers 6. These two combined for a World Series record 8 home runs, 5 in extra innings. Houston became the first team to homer in the 9th, 10th, and 11th innings of the same World Series game. The Astros also had their first ever World Series game victory. And none of it happened without Marwin. Gonzalez said he'd gone to the plate simply trying to reach base. He'd been frustrated by a quiet postseason and knew Jansen didn't make very many mistakes. But this one stayed over the middle, and Marwin didn't miss it. Jansen's explanation was just as direct. He wanted the pitch up and in, left it over the plate, and Gonzalez beat him. He said, "He got me. That's it." A.J. Hinch said Marwin kicked it all off. Springer described the homer as a release inside the dugout, a moment that made the Astros believe the game was still available to them. Gonzalez said the momentum changed completely, then watched Altuve and Correa wake up an inning later. That's the strange part about momentum. We talk about it like it moves by itself, but someone has to create it. And this time, Marwin Gonzalez did. The series moved to Houston tied 1-1. The Astros won Game 3. Dodgers answered in Game 4. Houston survived the 13-12 madness of Game 5. Then LA forced Game 7, and the Astros finally won the championship with a 5-1 victory back at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers returned to the World Series in 2018 and won in 2020. Houston kept reaching October, and won again in 2022. Disclaimer: the 2017 title was later stained by MLB's investigation into Houston's illegal electronic sign stealing. That context belongs here. Doesn't erase the road swing, but it permanently changes how the title is discussed. Anyway, Gonzalez remained with Houston through 2018. Then he signed a 2-year, $21 million deal with Minnesota. His 2017 peak was never repeated, but he continued to move around the diamond and helped the Twins reach the postseason. In February 2020, he became the first position player from the 2017 Astros to publicly apologize for the sign-stealing scheme. He said he felt regret for the players affected and wished the team could go back and handle things differently. Gonzalez played for Boston in 21, then returned to Houston and delivered a go-ahead 2-run pinch single in World Series Game 5 against Atlanta. Then he spent 2022 at the Yankees, and he played 2 seasons for Japan's Oryx Buffaloes. Gonzalez retired in 2024 at the age of 35. His Major League Baseball career lasted 11 seasons. He finished with 888 hits, 107 home runs, 415 RBI. But the numbers don't fully explain why Houston remembers him. One swing does. Next, we leave an 0-2 count in LA and head to Game 7 in Dallas. Well, shoot. So here we go. Blue 21 is Paul Stastny. May 11th, 2016, the Blues had spent decades collecting playoff scars, and now they had another winner-take-all game against the top-seeded Stars. Stastny assisted on the opening goal, scored before the first period ended, and added another assist as St. Louis crushed Dallas 6-1 to reach the Western Conference Final for the first time since 2001. What does it look like when a franchise famous for Game 7 pain finally gets to breathe? And that's Blue 21. Marwin Gonzalez was the player Houston could put anywhere. On October 25th, 2017, the Astros put him in left field and 7th in the order. In the 9th inning, with the World Series beginning to slip away, he put himself into franchise history. Not because he tried to hit the biggest home run of his life, because he tried to get on base. Sometimes the swing that changes everything begins with a much smaller idea. Stay alive, make contact, give the next guy a chance. Marwin never had to give the next guy that chance. He tied it himself. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you next time.